Hey everyone, my name is Ashton Joshi and I'm from ATFA Academy, and today we are going to be talking about credit reports basics. So basically, it's important to understand what a credit report is because it will tell you basically everything that will determine sort of your current credit score because takes a record of all the past transactions. It makes sure that numerous sources like the bank, and it just takes account of everything to help you generate your credit score you have today, like I said earlier. So it's important that you're very careful because like, remember in the previous video we talked about the parent and the child, and the parent will remember when you do good things and you do bad things, and will either scold you or reward you for that. So I want you to think about the same thing when it comes to credit reports and the banks, or maybe think about it like a police officer who's sort of writing up like a a criminal or something like that. That's the way you kind of want to picture it. So if we go here, what is a credit report? So as we just sort of talked about it, so let's read all the options. Three-digit number generated by a mathematical algorithm using info from your credit report to predict risk. That's a credit score. Boom. But we see the relationship, the credit report from from. So that's just to prove that that three-digit number you get as your credit score is reliant on what happens on your credit report, which makes sense because the credit report tells the whole history type of thing. So harder to rent an apartment, high interest rates, this is definitely not it. C contains your credit history from numerous sources such as a bank, credit card companies, agencies, etc., also used to generate credit score. This is a good option. This makes me happy, but we have to read the last option. So let me finish my smiley face. Alright. So, skipping rent payments, paying bills late, foreclosure, this is definitely not the right answer. So, that's a credit report. So remember, either the parent child example where the child scolds and rewards, that's kind of what the credit history remembers, the past history, or think about it like a cop and a criminal, and the cop is writing it up and it stays on the crime records. So think about it. I think the cop in this case is a better example. Let's just put this cop head, um, criminal, um, what criminals kind of have you know what? Let's skip the drawing. I'm pretty sure you get the point. Just I want you to think about the criminal police officer. Remember that, guys. Because in ATFA, the technical information is great. Like knowing exactly what it means is great, but it's hard to keep it all in your memory. So that's why we like concepts and understanding sort of the deep underlying meaning behind it. Because that thinking about it like a criminal and a police officer is much more relatable than a strict definition. So let's go to the next. Which is not included in an individual's credit report? So a credit card company, this is definitely included. Remember guys, read the not. Equal payments on a regular basis on the loan, so the loan is repaid. Yes, that's definitely a right thing that's on a credit report. Medical info, which is once a year for each credit report agency. So CRA is a credit report agency, which is the ones that distribute and sort of take account of all the data. So once a year, that's definitely included. So the only choice we have left is the medical info because that has nothing really to do with our credit report. So let's go on to the next question. What are examples of personal information on a credit report? So, okay, personal information, that's definitely on it. Credit requested. Mm, I don't think that's one of them, but let's read all the options. Information about the applicant's ability to repay credit. Kind of, but it's not really. That's a bit of assuming. That's not an example. That's the demonstration. That's something they have to assess reading all the information. So I know this is not right. So let's read the other options. Personal information, credit account info, and public record info. This is more like it because it's gonna have your the record information. It's going to have your credit account information. It's gonna have personal information because all of these help contribute to play a factor in how high your high or low your credit score is gonna be. So let's go to one. Let's read all the options. I like that one, but always, as investors, we always read everything. No need to carry large amounts of cash. No. Useful in emergencies? Nope, has nothing to do with the question. These are just three of the big companies who give the credit reports yearly. So nope. All right. So automatically the answer is B. There we go. So what types of public record information may be in a credit report? So let's look at the options. Depository institutions, credit card companies, retail stores that offer credit accounts, and mortgage and finance companies. Well, this is not public record information. That some of it is, but for the most part, it's not. So we're looking for types that may be. So let's look to the next option information from federal, state, county, public court records. That is more like it. A number created to help a lender evaluate the risk associated with lending a consumer money? No. Act of transferring debt from one credit to another card to another, that definitely has nothing to do with our question. So that leaves us with this option right here because all of this, it's important that they see the information from these different types of authorities because as I said, your credit score is reliant on the information on the credit report. So it's important that it gets the whole picture. Okay, let's do our last question. How often can a free credit report be requested? So one thing people get confused by is that the credit report, like you can only get one of these a year from three of the big ones. Like we saw Equifax in the previous Equifax and those other companies we saw in that option previously. If you want, we can go back. There's no need to memorize them. Equifax, Experian, TransUnion. Three are the large the large companies. And so people think that the credit report is the only way for them to check their credit score, their three digit whatever. Let's say mine's 700. But the truth is, there's so many apps and your bank will typically give you like a estimate type of thing. But the credit report will tell you everything why your credit score is the reason it is the way it is right now, what's impacting it to be good, what's still pushing it back. So think about it like checking it is just an estimate, but the report is like an essay. I want you to think about it like this. So a report is like an essay, let's say like five 5 paragraphs, very like deep and like lengthy, whereas this is gonna be more of your summary instead, like a 1 paragraph summary. So just remember that as that, and you can get one free. credit report annually from each of the three credit report agencies. Just like it says, exactly like this. Kind of gave away the answer, but we're gonna go through all the options. So the next one is so you can check to see if your credit card has been stolen. It has nothing to do with the question. Type of credit, loan amount of credit, date, account balance, payment information, nothing to do with it. So this answer was fairly straightforward, really easy to get a point on. And it's just important to know that you have the right to have one free credit report every single year. So be sure to make use of that. So I think that gives you all the information. We talked about concepts like the police officer and the criminal, the difference between having a one paragraph summary and an entire essay, because I want you to remember the examples because that will help you so much more in the long term. Because as I said, technical information is great. I want you to learn. That's why we have the questions all, but it's even more important to understand the concepts. So that wraps up our video. Thank you so much for listening on, and I'll see you all on the next one. Thank you.